So I thought I'd real quick just break down how the boot program works, at least how I think it works. Once we deconstruct it from the octal in assembly mnemonics in operand source destination order, this is what the program looks like. It's 4 instructions and it looks like total gibberish. All it seems to do is move random values into random locations, seemingly even the same locations in memory. Well, the hash there actually means the absolute next word, which is some of the values that we're entering right after the actual instruction itself. The brackets mean use result as address of operand, so this will come in handy and I will mention it. The brackets only mean that, I think, when there's a plus or minus before them, and I think they mean something different if it's after the opening bracket, but I won't get into all that right now. So basically, first instruction is the value 172526 is moved into register R0. This is the address of the MTCMA register, the MagTape current memory address register. Take these and power the thing on. So I've got the CPU halted here. I've got this set to bus register, and that is because it's going to help us see what we're going to toggle in, and that is so that we can now toggle in the bootstrap code, which is going to, in real life, it would load the actual bootloader off the magnetic tape, which would then be another program that would load the actual Unix version 7 off of the real-life arcade disk. And in this case, I have it mounted within the simulator, within SIMH, and SIMH, who knows. And we're going to go to address 0000001, and this is the actual bootstrap code as described in the Unix V7 documentation. We're going to go to 00 and then 7, and then we're going to deposit 2 and 1, right? And we're going to go ahead and deposit that. Right, nice. Then we're going to go ahead and deposit. So we can actually check if that deposited correctly by just loading the address again. And if we hit examine, go to data paths, we should see what we toggled in. So we got 2 zeros, 7, 2, and 1. Nice. Okay. So we can then, I'm just going to toggle it in again so I can show you this feature of it. Yep. So when we deposit, we are actually moving to the next memory address. So now, if I hit 6, and then 2, and then 5, and then 2, that's our next instruction, and then 7 and 1, we deposit that. I'm going to switch that to bus register. Yep. And yeah, you can see there's actually a light that went on here. In a real PDP, I assume it would be an incandescent bulb or something of that sort. Here, of course, is just an LED. But yeah, so every time we deposit something, maybe the program counter or something, it goes to the next memory location, is what I'm trying to say. Value of our 0, the register we just put the previous value into, is moved to the address of the register R0-2, which is 172524. Brackets, again, mean use result as address of operand. 172524 is the address of the MTBRC register, the MagTape byte record count. Now, if you kind of know how this stuff usually works, you probably have a mental picture by now that this region of memory seems to be occupied by MagTape related stuff. And yeah, that's kind of the logic. But hold on, what? So what this does is it moves the address of the MTCMA register into the MTBRC register, the MagTape byte record count. What the MTBRC register expects is a negative of how many bytes you should read in or transfer, But in this case, the address of the MTCMA is just a fairly suitable arbitrary value that is just big enough to cause the first block of the tape to be read, which is what we're trying to achieve. It's almost like obfuscated. That's what makes it so simple, except obfuscation isn't the goal. The goal is to make it easy to type in on switches. But heck, what a trick. So now, let's deposit the next instruction, which is 0, 4, and 0, 0, 1. And we're gonna deposit that. Nice. And then we're gonna go ahead. Next one is 0, 4. And then 7. And 2. And 1. Deposit that. Nice. And of course, this is an octal. This is all an octal, so you can see we're now at an address 10000, and then that will be 6. Right, and then our next instruction, I believe, is 3, which is these two. Then 3 zeros, 1, 2, 3, followed by 6, which will be this and that. We'll deposit that. Then it again decrements the register R0 by 2 and moves value 60003 into the resultant address, which is 172522, which is the address of the MTC register. That's our final register, I believe, which is the magnetic tape control. This is basically a magic value that starts a read operation. It's not random. It actually encodes some parameters for it, such as 800 BPI, 9-channel density on the magnetic tape. If you know what these words are, do explain them to me. But that's, as I understand it, the principle of it makes sense to me. You know, it's kind of like you specify what type of file you want to read in some file parsing library or something, right? You pass a value. Sometimes it's encoded as like a value like that. For instance, Fallout 2 saves have that weird, random, unrelated trivia. So with that value we provided to MTBRC and the magic value that specifies all the parameters in the MTC, the first block, block 0 of the tape, is read into memory at location 0. So that leaves just one more instruction, BR dot. The last instruction is deceptively simple. It simply calls the CPU to loop. It can't use halt and needs to loop because the PDP-11 CPU doesn't allow direct memory access for devices if it receives a halt opcode, if the CPU is halted. But while looping, the drive itself has direct memory access, which is something that we want because while the CPU is just looping over, the drive itself is what's actually loading stuff into memory. The CPU is not necessarily involved. So, per the instructions, once the tape starts moving, the operator manually stops the CPU by toggling the halt switch. The operator then loads address 0, untoggles halt, and toggles start, which starts execution at address 0, which clears all registers. This now means that the TM and the PC registers are set back to their default values. For instance, the PC program counter register is set to 0. A memory location 0 is now the second stage bootstrap code, loaded off the first block of the magnetic tape. This will now load the remainder of the Unix V7 boot code off of the magnetic tape. So really all that stuff we loaded into memory is just to load another bootloader. This is really clever. I love the way it uses decrementing the R0 register as a way to set values to two other registers in the same sort of memory region, one with a value of the other that just happens to be a suitable large enough value to read the first block of tape into memory, which is what we ultimately need. How cool is that, huh? Well, anyway. Nice. And then our next instruction is just a satisfying 3 7s. Nice. And we're going to go ahead and deposit that as well. Okay, so now we're going to go back to the starting address. And again, we can, by switching it to data paths, we can examine what's in each one of those memory addresses. So that's 12700. That's 1217 to 526. Yeah? And 010040 and 012740 06000 and 3 and 3 sevens. Okay, so go back to the address and we just untoggle the halt switch and we're gonna press and hit start. I'm gonna toggle start and hope for the best, right? So yeah, I think that's about it. So the instructions afterwards say that the tape should move and the CPU loop. So afterwards we're meant to halt again and go to address 0. I'm going to load that in and restart the CPU, and we should be good to go from there. I think that's worked. I think we should have something. So here's to hoping, right? What we have to do now is to check the terminal and see if we've got anything. I'm going to go ahead. I don't have an actual terminal. So I'm going to toggle in my CRT and we're going to see it in a moment. And indeed, as you should be able to see there, on the CRT, here's the sim commands aren't part of the OS, they're part of the simulator. It's just a helpful tool to help you kind of see what you're doing beyond the toggle switches. I wasn't using it because I really wanted this to have that real feel of Gen Z trying to toggle in a program with switches. But yeah, you can see on there we've got all the instructions that we were doing. These are usually in a format where the address is followed by the actual instruction in octal. You can see there's our 777 at the end, 12700, etc., etc. So it's yeah, it's pretty good. And at the end there, we've got our prompt with the semicolon that's going to let us load a kernel. So I believe our kernel is HP00. That's the drive that it's on, HP. I earlier said it was an RK disk. I'm not actually sure what an HP disk is. I'm still fairly new to this. But yeah, we type this in and we get the memory we have available, and we have a root prompt. Do we have who am I? No, I didn't think so. But we can type in who, and we can see that we are root and we're logged on the console. And if we press Control D, we of course get to multi-user mode, where we can still log in as root. 1979 brought us Unix version 7. At last, we have the Bourne shell. No more chadir. We can use CD now. To quote Dennis Ritchie, in the midst of our jubilation, it was discovered that the chadir, change current directory command, had stopped working. There was much reading of code and anxious introspection about how the addition of fork could have broken the chadir call. Finally, the truth dawned. In the old system, chadir was an ordinary command. It adjusted the current directory of the unique process attached to the terminal. Under the new system, with the Bourne shell, the chadir command correctly changed the current directory of the process created to execute it, but this process promptly terminated and had no effect whatsoever on its parent shell. It was necessary to make chadir a special command executed internally within the shell. Turns out that several command-like functions have the same property, for example, login, and thus we have built-ins in the Bourne shell. This release is, as far as I'm aware, the first commercial and the last true pure Unix from the original creators, now ported to many different processor architectures. this marks an end of an era for research Unix. Nice, and we've got a root prompt. Folders have changed a little bit once again, I believe. We've got a boot folder, or file maybe? It looks like it could be a folder. Let's have a look at that. Bad directory, okay, so file boot, and yeah, it's an executable, okay. So as you might have noticed, we do have CD now, and that is because we have the born again shell. That's not born again, sorry, not yet. It's just the born shell, which is pretty cool, much better now. You'll also find that we now have man as well. So if we have a look at man WC, oops, bad directory, that's kind of odd. Yeah, oh right, that's because while we're in single user mode, the user directory is not yet mounted. Right, I completely forgot about that. So while yes, there is a user directory, there is nothing in here. It's just a placeholder for something to be mounted onto it. So for now, all we have is ls bin, which now that seems to be either a lot more of them. Oops, ls bin l, lsl bin, sorry. Yeah, ls bin L? Yeah, okay, so now WC seems to work a lot more like how I would expect it to. So now we're up to 153 programs. I'm almost certain that's a pretty big increase from before. But yeah, I don't know if we have the etc password file. Yeah, we do. That's on the root file system. So yeah, as you can see, we have no more Ken. Ken's gone, I believe. But yeah. We still don't have VI, although I know that there's some distributions of version 7 that are more modern that come bundled with VI, and VI did come out for this version of Unix 7. You can get the sources and compile it, and this is the first version of Unix that got ported to many different devices, really. Many different architectures besides the PDP 7. PDP 11, sorry. And yeah, it was the first one that was licensed more as a commercial product as far as I'm aware, and it marks the end of the research Unix, the last of the true Unixes. Because after that, I believe AT&T acquired Bell Labs, or maybe they already owned them, and they decided either way that Unix would now be a commercial product. So that's certainly something, right? So let's go ahead and get our task done. So we're going to press Control-D, and that's going to boot us into multi-user mode now. There it is. Okay, I got it. So yeah, and now we should be able to list user and do lsl user bin. That's not a folder anymore. So what do we got in user? Yeah, we don't have a user bin. What we do have user games, which I believe now holds the quiz. Yeah, there's quite a few more games, actually. Yeah, nice. Let me just clear out the screen. Yeah, neat. Quite a few more. What does banner do? Hello. Oh my god, there it goes. I guess it's something probably a bit more interesting to have on a actual like receipt printer or something. In fact, you know what? Let me real quick just go and adjust the font size here. Made it nice and big so it's easy to see, but I think we're now getting into a part of Unix evolution where things are starting to get pretty like information dense. There's a lot more stuff on the screen at any given time. Oh my god, what the hell was that? I don't know why that still is just printing it. I guess Control-D seemed to exit it, unless that exited me back. No, it didn't. Okay, so yeah, so that worked okay, at least. That's good. Yeah, alright, so now we have man, in this user mode, and we can read man pages. It's going to print them out like this. There's no pager as far as I'm aware, but it is using trough and whatnot for all sorts of helpful manuals. So here's our WC, and we've got the parameters right here. LWC, nice. I believe awk is in this version, right? Yes, it is. Nice. We've got awk and stuff. That's pretty cool. Shame about no VI though, but oh my god, I keep doing that wrong. What I mean to do is this. LSL bin, right? Cool. So yeah, let's see what else we got. I believe unique might be new. Not sure. I might also notice that some programs are gone, and that's because they're now part of the shell, which is bin sh. The other ones did not have that. So when you did a chadir, I believe it was just kind of the syscall. And that it was just called through some other means. It didn't seem to be a program either, but yeah. And isn't that cool? Fortran stuff, egrep, echo. Well, we always had echo naturally, hopefully, right? Yeah, we got a lot of good stuff in here that was not in the versions Unix 5 and 6. It's really kind of the best and the most complete version of Unix. It's the first one that really feels like a Unix that you'd be used to, like a Linux or a Mac OS or something, you know? Obviously, I don't intend to start wars about what is and isn't Unix-like or what is and isn't POSIX compliant. I believe there was some kind of legal debacle relating to that and more. But yeah, what does yes do in this? Just prints Y. That's good, I like that. Also, it made the lights on the PDP go crazy. And now I can't... There we go. Okay, backspace did it. That was good. I was kind of worried there because I tried Control-C and that didn't work. Control-D didn't work either. So that's exciting. Yeah, so let's have a look at Etsy as well. We've got so many more... Yeah, let's actually do a... We don't have clear, do we? No, didn't think so. But I'll just do my classic terminal clean. Let's do a count, right? So ls bin cl ls user bin cl. We don't have any apparently. One line probably as in no directory found, right? And user games LUCL. Nice. Yeah. So we also have a .profile file for the shell, which is going to, that's going to show us, that's going to set some options for us for what command to run when we log in, which is pretty cool. But yeah, let's go ahead and make those directories and whatnot and make that message and such. So user Alyssa, Kadir, user Bob, and we can do a cat Etsy password. And yeah, cool. So let's go ahead and edit that in ed, just like we did before. We can print out the file, blah blah blah, append Alyssa, blah blah, 10, 1. Seems like now all the different systems are also in their own individual groups. And it's worth having a look at as well. But we're just going to put them in the same group as they've always been for now. Yeah, I think that's all we need, right? Oops, no, hold up. I put them in the same group. Which line is that? That would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8, right? Delete that, append into it Bob 21, user Bob, whatever. Cool, now they should not have clashing user IDs or whatever. Yeah, let me just list that just to be sure. Cool, nice. And let's go ahead and try and change the password for them. So the first thing you'll notice is that we now have an interactive actual password utility. And if I type in my password, it's not going to be visible. I did it just right now. Like, you know, here's mismatch, passwords unchanged, all that sort of stuff. You don't have to put in a quote-unquote UID in there or whatever. It also requires you to use at least one non-numeric character. Based on the string there that it has in the Etsy password file, I've noticed that it seems to be a more complex hashing algorithm. I'd actually be interested in learning about that, but I'm not entirely sure what that would be. But yeah, here we go. So we have changed the root password. Now we can also supply a username. And since they don't have a password, she doesn't have a password yet, I don't have a password, whatever. And we can just set one. It doesn't say like changing password for user such and such. And we can do a password Bob and give him a similar password. You know, just to make sure. They can ask each other for password hints. Right. Anyway, so we can log in as them. Oh, actually, we need to change ownership of their directories. So we'll go user Alyssa, Bob, user Bob, blah blah blah. We'll log out. Here we are. Yeah. We're gonna go in as oops. We're gonna go in as Alyssa. There we go. Nice. And we can see that we're in our home directory. So I wonder if we now have touch. Yes, we do. There it is. We now have touch. We can create files and whatnot. And I think RM now has the option of deleting directories. Just for funsies and to switch things up just a little bit, I did want to show off mail. I think we can mail Bob and just say, check now. Your home folder. Urgent Star Trek matter to discuss. I'm gonna say that. I think this is just Ed, so we just type in a period, and that's gonna be that. So now, if we log out, we're gonna log in as Bob, and we're gonna go a 907C. We have a little pop-up that says, you have mail. Let's have a look at the mail that we got. We got a little program, interactive program here. And we see that we got a message from Alyssa, 1969. I have no idea why the date is set to 1969. I guess that's maybe when that's the earliest one or something. Doesn't really make any sense, right? Because the Unix version 7 came out a good deal after that. But yeah, so we as Bob are seeing Alyssa being obnoxious about Star Trek again. And we sigh and move on from that. And we check the help for this interactive cool program, right? I think P just prints the mail as it goes. We can also forward this to somebody, I believe. Can we forward this to root? Yes, we can. I think if we log in as root now, I'm going to see that. Yeah. Oops. I keep trying to list the mail file. It just prints some gibberish if you want to see it. I think it's fairly harmless. Is it user spool mail? Yep, it's just a random crap. Root M. And yeah, let's go ahead and just read our mail. And yeah, we got a forward from Bob about that. We can also print previous. Oops. And was the next. Next, we got nothing. Okay, cool. See, I think you when you first install, because I've already messed with this a little bit before I started this, you get a thing that says you have secret mail. A secret mail has arrived is a message you get in your root inbox that I believe is just there to kind of pop up you have mail. It comes from like a random user. I think it's like who was it? I think it's like Bin or something like that. It comes from like Bin, I think. Well, anyway, let's, there you go. So that's Unix version 7. And like on all of these, I haven't shown this step, but if you wanted to sync your file system, you just want to like do a little triple sync here. Something I started doing, I think just messing with this gave me a habit of doing that on my other systems too. Whenever I'm about to like do something kind of wacky, or whatever, just yeah, it feels nice. I have no idea if that still works on like modern Linux. No idea what it does on modern Linux, to be honest. It just feels nice, you know. It gives you a little bit of safety, like safely removing a USB or something, right? Maybe it like sometimes I do notice the system hangs for a little bit, or at least like not hangs, but you know, that particular TTY pauses for a moment. So I'm like, it's doing something, right? Or maybe it's just sleeping. For all I know, it's just sleeping. It's pretending that it's doing something so that I feel safe. I'm like, oh, it's safely removing it. You know, it's like on Windows when you hit the troubleshoot button, and it's like, oh, troubleshooting. It's like, oh, it's doing it. It's solving it. Well, anyway, so I think that concludes the research Unix era of all this. I feel like that's pretty good. This release is, as far as I'm aware, the first commercial and the last true pure Unix from the original creators, now ported to many different processor architectures. This marks an end of an era for research Unix. It's the end of research Unix. AT&T acquired Bell Labs, and Unix was now an AT&T product. The first release that AT&T actually provided was AT&T Unix System III. This Unix actually takes elements from both version 7 and version 5 and was created by AT&T as a commercial evolution of Unix, but it wasn't the release they are most known for. So let's see how similar it is and see if we can pick up on some of those influences. So the way to boot here is, I think we type in just Unix or something. Oh yeah, Unix maybe? Yeah, there we go. So yeah, we've got a single user mode to start with. So what we do is we can have a look around here first. Is the user directory mounted? No, it's not. What about bin? Yeah, how many bins do we have here? Still no clear, no VI, no nothing interesting like that. We do get RSH, which I wonder what that is. Yeah, we don't get man until we go into single user mode. But yeah, if we go Control D, I think that will just, yeah, drop us into another root shell. Nothing fancy like that. It printed a second hash there, as you can see. If we do it again, there it is. In fact, yeah, we can just continue typing from there. It just doesn't print a new line or anything. So yeah, let's go init 2, not init 3, because I think in modern init-based systems, it's init level 1 is something. Init 5 I know is the graphical one. Init 4, I don't know if that's a thing. Init 3 is the multi-user non-graphical mode, and init 2 must be the single user one. But in here, it's init 2 for the multi-user. And as you can see, it starts process accounting, cron, multi-user, and yeah, so on and so forth. So we can go ahead and go as root. I've already set a password when I last messed around with it. So yeah, I think real quick we can just do the lsl bin, pipe that into wc. Actually, let's just see them first. Yeah, got a good amount of programs here. Really good amount of programs. And yeah, we still have rmdir, which I don't know what that is. Bad free count. No space on dev00. Well, that's not good, right? Can we man something else like time? I don't know. Probably has a man page. Yeah, that's not looking hot. But no, wait for it. No space on dev00. Yeah, I don't know what's up with this thing. Why it will do that. So I tried restarting the system, and clearly some kind of file system corruption happened, because there's nothing in Etsy, like there's no Etsy password or anything, and you can see that some of these are failing, like cannot access user admin sulog, because I don't think that directory exists. And yeah, there's no like it says there's another error like unknown ID admin, and that would have come from, that would be a group or a user in the in Etsy password. So yikes. Moving on. So, unfortunately, I wasn't quite able to actually get that to work. Moving on to System 5, which is the much more refined release of AT&T Unix. 1983, the last Unix to be actually called that, is on the list, at least for today. I'm sure there were many others that we could cover from other manufacturers and other distributors and developers, etc. This is the first one to use the init system. Going forward, all Unix and Unix-likes will bear the category of using sysv style init. So, welcome to 1983 and AT&T's Unix System V, Unix System V. So, this is the last Unix to be actually called Unix on this list for today. This is the first one to use the init system, as in the System V init system to be exact. An init system is just a system that initializes the system. System. Lots of system. And yeah, going forward, a lot of Unix and Unix-likes will be called, will be categorized as utilizing sysv style init because of this release. As far as I'm aware, this was the much more polished, like much more marketed, sort of with many more additions. So it was definitely a bit more of a wide product release and a big push for AT&T to get this out there. No idea about the internals of it or how different it really is. So I think the boot process is the same as System 3. Hopefully we're not going to have any errors. So yeah, and here we go. You can see init, single user mode. We've got Unix/sysv. So that's interesting. So let's go ahead and list the directories and whatnot. So we got BCK. I wonder what that is. That's kind of new for the root directory. Sys, it says, is the owner. Is that a directory? Yeah, nice. Nothing in it. That's odd, but maybe something will get mounted there. Taking it, there's nothing in user either. Okay, and in the bins, got I see definitely some new stuff towards. I see U3B5, U3B, U370. No idea what those mean. No idea what they are. Actcom. Sounds almost like a DOS program. Maybe someone's been taking inspiration. I see DU. I don't realize if that was in the other ones or not. But yeah, I also see VAX, whatever that means. But oh, that's right, U370. That probably refers to the 370 like mainframe, and VAX is probably for VAX. So yeah, I bet this was ported to like every processor architecture under the sun at this point because you know, they probably wanted it to have as much of an adoption as possible. So anyway, let's go ahead and go into run level 2. We get a date prompt, just like DOS. That's kind of crazy. That's new. Yeah, why not? That's correct. Enter the correct... Oh, it really wanted that lowercase y, huh? You never know with these things. That's still a thing with me on Unix. Every now... on Linux and whatnot. Every now and then, you have a program that says y or n, and you remember some other program that had a problem reading the lowercase y or really wanted a uppercase y to make sure you're really sure or whatever, so you type in like either one and it's not the one that it wants, so it assumes that you mean no. It's just a classic. I don't know what format it's expecting. I'm gonna assume that AT&T, American Tele and whatever, is probably expecting a European date. And just for funsies, and do 12/12. Actually, that would work in either one. Fuck it. 1982. Why not? Is this the date? Yes. Bad conversion. Do you want me to check the file systems? Yeah, why not? Go for it, because last time we had some problems. Check bad blocks. Scan for more dups. Dup/bad. Owner admin. Maybe? I don't know. Maybe let's not have it be removed. Check connectivity. Boot Unix, no sync. Phase 5, check free list. So complicated. Is it doing something? Well, the lights are flashing, but they kind of always are flashing. See, not much going on the, no, I see an address, FPP CPU. Is that floating point? Is that what FPP stands for? Probably, right? I'm just gonna go ahead and try and hit Control D and see if anything happens. No, I got nothing. So maybe it's still booting. Give it a moment, I suppose. Why not? Unixes usually boot pretty fast. I don't think I'm using any sort of throttling or anything like that. Yeah, let's see it. So I just halted it to see where it's at. I'm gonna halt it again. It's that same instruction. Yeah, I don't think this is working so hot. Such a shame. I feel like System 3 I could give or take, but yeah, System V would be really cool to see. So now it seems to be working a lot better, but I do also again see an error that says userlib act startup cannot execute. That sounds pretty important. I feel like startup is pretty important, probably. Oh my god. I was tabbed out and it said console login. What did I do, man? Oh, there we go, root, right? Yeah, okay. Alright, we're in. So let's see if there's anything in that BCK folder, and there's not. Let's see if there's a password file. There is, so that's good. I'm just gonna sync this right away, just in case, you know? It doesn't seem to take any time, so that's good. Let's see what's in user now. So yeah, might as well get a good count of stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and just erase the terminal real quick. Clear is still not there. VI is there. We've got VI, baby, or something. Visual needs addressable cursor or upline capability. Well, it does seem like VI. Not what I expected, though. Well, who? Let's take some counts of the bins again. So we're gonna do a LSL bin, actually. Yeah, okay. So we've got more of those U370, U3B5, VAX. Those must be all like the names of the things that Lorder I pointed out. That seems pretty good. I don't know what message is. This seems kind of neat. So why don't we go ahead and have a look at that. But also, let's take a count. That's not how you do that. LSL bin wc.l. Nice. So we got 85 system ones. How about there's no games. What am I? Bin 129 user programs. Damn, there must be some good stuff in there. Let's do user games. Did AT&T ship us some good games with this? 38. I feel like that's a lot lower than System 3. I don't remember exactly, but it seems lower. So let's have a look in user bin. What's in there? What's so much stuff? I mean, VI, I assume, for one. Also, I do wonder, the date it asked us to enter is 1982. These files say they're created October 10th, 1983. I wonder if that's what the problem is. Yeah, maybe, just in case, I'm gonna triple sync again. Log out, you know, doing everything perfectly, I think. Oops. Wow! It makes the CPU halt! Damn! Yeah, it halts. If you type in nothing, the whole thing just halts. What are you doing, AT&T? What is this? And maybe this is a simulator, I don't know, or maybe whoever installed this system did something wrong. But yeah, 10, 19, 1983. Oh my god, 10, 19, 1983. 1983, 10, 19. No, it's not. What if you reverted to 19? You know what? Screw it. Invalid input. No. Screw it. Yeah, whatever. Too much time I've spent on this already. Anyway, so we've got some cool stuff in user bin, right? Let's have a look at that. I wonder what 300 is. last time I ran man, it was kind of over after that fact, so let's find out what happens this time. Oh, there it is, it's printing it. Again, we've got Unix 5.0, not to be confused with Unix version 5. This is Unix System 5, or /sys v. It has like many names, I guess. Do we have less? More. At least not that I know of. Yeah, interesting. Do we have any funny users added? I doubt it, but no. What game? Trouble. Who's Trouble? Who's Shkier anyway? Who's LP? I don't know. But yeah, let's have a look in user. No, you know what? What is news? Hold up. User news. LS? Wait, I guess that's not a thing. It's directory, but it's not actually on there. So that's neat. I mean, I guess if you wanted to use Unix, you could. What is stand? Memory fault core dump. That's neat. Did it CD into like a file? File stand. Directory. That's fascinating, I must say. Etsy. Neat that it has core dumps, though. I really wouldn't have expected that at this point. But yeah, yeah, we got so many like Etsy files. I feel like before, I never really looked, but before the Etsy folders were pretty small for what they were worth. It's Etsy config. Let's see what that is. That sounds kind of important. Etsy config. Oh my god, that's a program, not a thing. Well, now it wouldn't be too surprising if there was a memory fault after that. Oh my god, it's gonna keep printing that binary for address map table overflow, whatever that means. Seems our shell is okay, right? So, let's try it. Etsy config, what does it do? T file, M file, man config. Configure a Unix system. Thank you, that's very specific. Etsy config. Config is a program that takes a description of a Unix system and generates... Oh shit, no, that is actually pretty useful. Oh my god. Description file, hardware and everything. Okay, that's like, you know, that's like your Puppet or infrastructure as a, what do you call that shit? Infrastructure as file or something? As code. Infrastructure as code. Oh my god. Yes, queen. Infrastructure as code. But yeah, anyway. Yeah, so that seems to be... yeah, we do have VI, right? So that's pretty good. It does say using open mode, which I don't know what that means, really. But yeah, we have actual VI, except I can't scroll up. Like pressing... Oh, no, maybe I can, actually. Yeah. So let me add... I think there's a user ID of 20. Again, put them in the same group. I have no idea what this UUCP stuff is, to be completely honest with you. Yeah. I'll just copy a root entry or something. User Bob. And we can do a write. Just in case, let's check. That is just not quite... there's definitely a bunch of crap at the end there. So, no, not anymore at least. The Etsy password. Right, and we're gonna go ahead and save that. And that should be now fine, right? Yay, okay, cool. And if we log out now, hopefully, yeah, there we go. Let's see, password, set us a password. Nice, nice, nice. Shift Enter, Control C, Control D, Control E. It's gonna just use the sim, whatever. And now it's pretty much frozen as far as I can tell. Sometimes when I pause and unpause sim, it does tend to lag a lot. But you get the idea. Apart from VI, which is pretty cool and definitely better than Ed, at least when it works, because as it stands, I think there's a terminal shell type situation that makes it not work quite so well. You get the idea how we would do this in the exact same way. Yeah, anyway, moving on.